Sim racing gear is evolving fast. Every year we get a whole new batch of components that not only look more professional, but add more functionality to our sim racing world. MOZA Racing's latest offering, the CM2 Dash, is no exception to this. It has a nice blend of innovation and customization that really brings something unique to the table. At $199, the CM2 Dash packs some serious features into a small package. It's got a vibrant 5-inch 1280 by 720 resolution touchscreen, capable of displaying real-time telemetry and more. But here's the hook. It's fully customizable. Through the MOZA Pithouse software, you can choose from preset designs or build your own dashboards from scratch. So I ask you, are you feeling creative? Because you're going to be able to upload your designs to the MOZA Pithouse community, and they're going to be able to download them and use them. And likewise, you'll be able to download other dashes from other users onto your own device here. That's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about performance. You've got the 10 RGB shift lights mounted across the top. These are going to help you nail every shift with precision. And for added immersion, you've got these 6 flag indicators, 3 on each side, which are going to be great for like yellow flags or blue flags or whatever that means, like you're getting passed or something. And all of those are customizable to 16.7 gigawatt million colors or something like that. When it comes to build quality, MOZA didn't cut any corners there. This thing is sleek, it is compact, it is really nice. You've got this side USB direct connection, which is how we have it lit up right now. You also got an RJ45 that goes directly to the bases, and that's all encased in a nice lightweight aluminum alloy casing. So is the CM2 Dash the next must-have piece of gear for your rig? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out today. So let's dive into the CM2 Dash and see if it truly elevates your sim racing experience. All right, so we've covered all the headline features of the CM2 Dash, but let's go ahead and dive into it a little bit deeper. From the very moment that I unbox this thing, I gotta tell you, it does feel very premium. And it comes in at just the right size, measuring it at about 6 inches wide, 3.5 inches tall, and just 1 inch thick. It's got a slim, modern profile. It's gonna look good on any rig. And its construction is also top-notch. I love the way they have this cell phone look with the glass going all the way to the edge of that aluminum casing. It's lightweight, but it doesn't feel cheap. And you can tell that MOZA put some serious thought into the materials and finish. Now let's talk about practicality. On the bottom, you've got this RJ45 jack, so it will plug directly into the MOZA square bases. And then you've got the USB connection, direct connection into any computer. Anyone can use this as long as you're using Pithouse software. And when it comes to mounting, that's very simple as well. For MOZA bases, that mount that goes onto the back of this, you've got 4 different positions that this locks into. Bolts directly to those MOZA square bases. I will say, when I went to mount mine, those threaded holes, maybe they were a little dirty or the screws were long. It was a little tight, so I added a couple of washers and it locked down perfectly. The other nice thing about that mount is I could mount that to any desk with a couple of screws. I could mount that to profile with little bolts. So with it mounted up to my rig, I can tell you, it looks pretty solid, it looks pretty sleek, and I know it's functional. It's got that versatility to work on just about any sim rig out there. And I love that integrated look right into the MOZA base and how it was matched with the steering wheel really nicely. Perfect combination. And it's kind of cool that you could use it on any sim rig out there. If you could bolt it down to something, it's going to work. So with that, let's move on to software. Doesn't matter if you're on the USB direct to the computer or if you're on the RJ45 and the MOZA base. Either way, you're going to need to use the Pithouse software. So you're going to want to download that from their website. You're going to install that onto your computer, and when you do, it should do any software updates plus firmware to the dash, and once it does, it's going to recognize the dash and install all the pre-done dashboards from the Pithouse software automatically. We will dive into all the customization and features later, but really at this point, we've got it ready to go. It's on our rig, we've got the software, so it's time to get down to driving and see how it actually performs on track. Now that we're actually driving with the CM Dash, we can get our first look of it really mounted nicely on the rig. And I tell you, MOZA users are going to love this. It's so seamless, it's so slick, and it just looks really good on this base. along with the fact that with that adjustability, I have it in a perfect spot where it clears the wheel so I can see above it nicely. And if I was using a round rim, I'd be able to see below the top of the rim to see the dash with it perfectly aligned for my vision. And from there, the design itself is a standout. The seamless glass front is very modern, giving it a premium look, like a high-end smartphone. Sure, there is a bezel area that holds those shift and flag lights, but it blends so well that the whole thing feels sleek and cohesive. It's one of the most polished looking dashes I've seen. And it's not just pretty in its looks because of the way it mounts and its design, but it's also this 5-inch display, which is very clear, very bright, and comparing it to other dashes that I've used recently, including the one on the Asenza wheel, the CM2 is a step above. The sharpness and the size make all of the dashes look fantastic, and the display's quality really shines through. And since I mentioned dashes, we might as well talk about the touchscreen. With just the flip of the finger, you can actually cycle through all the dashes. Some of them even have secondary information, so maybe tire temps or fuel percentage left over. It's as easy as just moving your finger and going through all the dashes. You'll find some work better for open wheel cars, some work better for GT cars, or maybe for something like a NASCAR, you want something really basic and simple like that. They mentioned it's 1.3 hertz processor and it's 60 hertz refresh rate. That's a lot of jargon to me. What I do know is I'm not seeing much or if any delay in the dash. So when I look at like the RPMs or any other things moving information-wise, it is really nicely in tune with the game, not a big delay. The other nice thing are the shift lights. Like many other MOZA products we've seen, you can change the colors of the LEDs. So in this case, I'm in this custom BMW dash that I made, and I actually made the rev lights to match the striping that goes with the car. So the whole dash is really built around this car very specifically, and that just makes it that much more immersive, that much more realistic, or at least makes it that much cooler when I'm just looking at my rig and sitting in it. Another nice addition to the CM2 Dash are those additional flag indicators. So right now they're flashing red. So they flash red when I'm on pit lane. My wheel is flashing blue, showing that my pit lane indicator is on. And as soon as those red lights go off, I know that it's time to go ahead and remove the pit limiter. So out of the box, I was really impressed with the CM2 Dash. It's really good looking. Its placement is perfect. It's got a good build quality and a good price. But the customization, I think, is what really takes me over the top. Being able to make the dashes exactly how I want them for a particular car, having the customizable lights on the LED strip, so if you're trying to match it to a particular car, or just what you want your rig to look like, you can do all that. So let's go ahead and get back into the software, talk about some of those customization features before we finish things up here today. So if you're just trying to match it to a particular car, or just what you want your rig to look like, you can do all that with the Pit House software. Within the Pit House software, not only can you control all of the shift and flag light colors and brightness, but you can also change out the dashboards, install dashboards that you've downloaded, and even customize your own dashes to your own desires. This is true not only for the CM2 Dash, but also for the newer steering wheels from MOZA, like the new FSR2 rim. I've done a full video along with this one that shows you how to build your own dash from scratch, as well as a few examples that I've made for myself. So for this reason, I knew I'd be running the new BMW, so I went ahead and made a dash specifically for it. So for this season, I knew I was going to be running the BMW M2 all season long, so I figured let's make a dash very specific for that car. And I went about it in a couple different ways. Number one, aesthetics. I wanted it to look like it was meant for the car. So we have a BMW logo and the M2 CS logo on the background of our dash. On top of that, I wanted the information that was very specific to this car. It's a fixed setup. I don't have a lot of aero adjustment, so I want things like track temperature, so I can know if things get heated up, and that's why my tires are getting a little less grippy. I wanted to see my lap times. I want to see the amount of laps that were left, things that would be critical to me while racing that car. And then just as a little added bonus, I went ahead and put the shift lights to match the BMW M Series stripes of light blue, dark blue, and red, and then flashing red when it was time to shift. So I really did make it look good and, at the same time, give me the customized functionality that I needed for a particular car, and I might even make another dash for a different car that I happen to use that needs slightly different information. So being able to make those customizations, and then just the thought of being able to download other people's designs, maybe they have more artistic ability, or maybe they've recreated a dash that I think is really cool, I can just download it, install it, and run it on my CM Dash right here. So much functionality, such a cool little dash at a very reasonable price. For something that seems as straightforward as a dash, sim racing has a way of making it seem a little bit more complicated. So in case you missed anything, or at least to focus on the most important features of the CM2 Dash, let's break it down with the good, the not so good, and the bottom line, starting off with the good, and that being that bezel-free design. A sleek, clean aesthetic with a seamless glass front. Visually stunning, the Dash looks fantastic, adding a polished touch to any rig. MOZA integration, designed to mount perfectly to MOZA bases with an adjustable height for ideal placement. Customizable LEDs, fully configurable LED colors and patterns for both rev and flag lights. Customizable dashes, create and tailor dashes to suit your preferences or specific cars. Rev lights and flag lights, clear and vibrant indicators built right into the design. Bright, high-quality display. The 1280 by 720 screen delivers sharp visuals and excellent brightness. Standalone functionality. Operates independently via USB, making it versatile beyond MOZA setups. Touchscreen navigation. Effortlessly switch between dashes with a simple swipe or touch. And now on to the not so good, starting with limited stock dashes. Comes with fewer default dash options than expected. More on the way and downloadable later. Metric units only. Default dashes do not include imperial measurement options. Incomplete custom dash features. Certain data fields and features aren't fully functional across all sims. Minimal documentation. Lack of clear instructions make creating custom dashes a trial and error process. And now on to the bottom line. Honestly, if you have one of the MOZA square bases, this is almost a no-brainer for me. I mean, it's almost like it was designed for that base, if you know what I mean. It actually was. So if you do need that extra information, or you like that extra immersion of having a dash mounted like that, it is really cool. It's a great dash, and again, it's so seamless with the MOZA integration. So that's really nice. And I gotta tell you, coming at $200, that's only a $40 increase of price over the original CM Dash, and the amount of features you get in this one compared to that one is again a huge savings or a no-brainer purchase or comparison to me. Right out of the box, it offers plenty of functionality, and the ability to customize it to your personal preferences with relative ease is a huge plus. In fact, I have to tell you, the results of building my own dashes came out so good that I'm going to actually spend more time cleaning up my dashes and probably making more just because the results came out so cool. I could make a dash particular to a car that I like driving. That was just cool. And so if you're sitting there and you don't have a MOZA base and you're kind of jealous, I mean, it is cool. It will work on anything. That mount is pretty universal. You've got 4 different little holes that you could bolt it to just about anything, and you just need to run that Pit House software, which in the end I found to be much easier to use than SimHub. So there are a lot of dashboard options out there. A lot of them have you using SimHub, which is a very powerful, very awesome program, but it can be daunting. It can be a bigger challenge, and I thought the MOZA Pit House software is a little bit easier to use when it comes to making custom dashes. However, it could even be made to be a little bit easier as well. All things considered, I really did like this dash, and it will be staying on my rig whenever I'm using that MOZA base because it just is really cool. So I hope you've enjoyed this review of the MOZA Racing CM2 Dash. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can find out when our next video comes out, and thank you for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.